What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is June 10th of 2019. Well, folks, I hope you all are having a great day wherever you are, and in today's video, I want to spend some time to not only dive through the short-term and long-term range of price action for crypto and really share with you all my kind of strategy as to how I'm approaching Bitcoin over the next few months, but we'll also dive into equities and take a few looks at different pieces of news. But I got to go ahead and share a really important message with you guys. There's no sponsor message today. This is something very important, though, for all of you who do keep active with the channel. As some of you already have realized, one of my most recent daily updates got removed from the YouTube channel. It didn't just simply get demonetized, it got straight up removed by YouTube. And along with that, I got a strike on my channel. They supposedly claimed that I was promoting some kind of illicit activity, gambling, something along those lines, something that broke the community guidelines. And I've read through them time and time again, and I can't seem to find what I went wrong on. We didn't promote anything in relation to those topics I just mentioned. If I get another one of those strikes in the next month before that strike expires, this could mean that I can't post for an entire week on the channel. Now, I understand YouTube is a huge network, and I've used the platform since 2007. I understand it's gotten monstrous in the size, and I understand it's very difficult for YouTube to manage this. That being said, I've seen kind of overt censorship with the Vox adpocalypse going on. I've seen channels that are minding their own business and making their livelihood on YouTube and just simply speaking and talking, getting their entire channels removed. And that's really scary, not only to see that in people that I've either watched or that I respect should have a platform to speak, but to now see it happening to my channel as well has kind of kicked me into high gear, where I'm going to start posting my videos on other platforms. So if you guys want, I'm going to be leaving some links down below in the description to some alternative channels, just so you can subscribe and keep tuned with them on a variety of other media platforms. Scary to think this is happening, but I hope it doesn't continue. And if anything, I hope I can get that strike removed or talk to someone at YouTube and get some clarification on this, because you just can't get a person on the line. It's kind of upsetting. So anyways, just wanted to put that out there. You guys can check those links down below. I'll have them down below for you guys. Now, let's go ahead and take a look through the market over the last 24 hours. Most altcoins right now are in the green, following Bitcoin rebounding a bit over the last 24 hours. We actually got a pretty decent buy candle coming in, have to say. I think it was the most significant one of most fiat gateways since June 6th. So in the last 4 days, most significant buy side activity, actually ever since the last big sell side candle. So we're not seeing any serious continuation of sell side volume going down in the market to push us past the $7,500, $7,400 range. If we take a look here at valuations, though, again, we're still a decent distance away from the highs, which was 281 billion. We're now sitting at 256 billion. So again, a little bit less than a $30 billion gap, closing at around 25 billion between the highs in that range there. So we're still waiting to, again, get a confirmation that this rally can continue. Again, I don't think that's going to be the case. As I've told you all, I still believe we need to retrace, and I'll mention why. It's not that I'm bearish on Bitcoin in the grand scheme of things, guys. I'm just talking about averaging in. You do want to, play off of what history tells you in that case, and that is two things. A, Bitcoin usually has about a 30 to 40% correction in that case, and B, once you've had that 30-40% correction, don't bet against it. Ride the wave and don't try to trade all the little small tidbits in between, right? That's going to be my strategy that I'm going to let you all know about today. So let's go ahead and take a look at the chart. Again, I'm going to show you guys how simple I treat this. So again, wanted to give some credit to the bulls. It's nothing crazy significant like we saw over here, for example, on June 3rd, when we had a really big sell-off from 8,400 all the way down to 7,400, a big $1,000 drop in Bitcoin. But I have to say, this was the most significant volume we had on GDAX, I think on Bitstamp as well, since June 6th on the hourly. So it's good to see it outweighed the last 2 days of volume, which were sell side days. So credit to the bulls in that case. But I have to say, again, we're still looking like we're topping out this range. I'm not seeing much follow through. And even though this was a nice strong hourly candle, we boosted up about 350 to 400 bucks, depending on what exchange you're looking at. The fact of the matter is that even if you take the peak up here down to the lows, what we set, for example, back here a few days ago on the 4th of June, it's only an 18% correction. Where we're at right now is only 12%. My point being is that if we take a look at history, guys, as I just mentioned a moment ago, we see anywhere from a 30% correction, which would be down here to $6,400, down to a 40% correction, which is going to lead us down to 5,400. Now, do I believe we're going down to 5,400? I'll be honest, as someone who does believe Bitcoin needs to go through a pretty decent correction, I have a hard time seeing it go down there, but it's very plausible at this point. And the thing I want to, just kind of emphasize here is that we continue to kind of top out at the same shoulder of what seems to be the head here for Bitcoin. So we could very well be forming a head and shoulder, and that's very understandable because we've broken out of the exponential kind of price range and stuff where price has been moving faster and faster in a shorter period of time, where lows had to be set at higher levels at a faster rate. And we also broke out of what appeared to be an ascending wedge. So two, formations in this case, now that we've broken out of the parabolic line, which was bullish, it's now turned bearish. And then also an ascending wedge was just bearish. And we're just pushing sideways here. We're not getting any significant buyers up here like we were. As you can take a look at the volume chart here, you see much more, violent kind of spikes here to the buy side than we are, over here. And all we're really seeing for the bigger candles, outside of maybe an anomaly here, is sell side action on the hourly, right? So that's my major point, guys. I'm not bearish on Bitcoin in the long term, just in the short term. I just think that we've got a little bit more room to correct. Could be wrong though, and if it turns out that Bitcoin does come up here to like 8,200, for example, I would consider averaging down in that case a little bit. But again, I'm going to be waiting for more of the bulk of the correction. It doesn't mean that we're going to play exactly like history, but I do believe we're at least going to get to the 30% range, right? Last time it was 40%, was much easier for Bitcoin to drop, I guess, at that range. Back here, however, I do think you could easily see 30% from these highs up here, which is going to mean that we're going to go down to the low 6,000 range, which I think is good and very healthy for Bitcoin to come down near its previous support range, right? Make that support hold there for a while and lift off. And that'll get us now to talking about our more long-term kind of prediction of what's going to happen at Bitcoin and how I'm really going to play it out. So as I mentioned, I'll go ahead and I'll turn off the drawings here just to kind of keep it simple. So I want to emphasize how I'm playing Bitcoin. I think some of you might have been able to see my video on how to simplify Bitcoin investing. I think it's actually like my featured video on the channel. But basically, the reason I have it up there is it basically simplifies the whole process of trying to play Bitcoin over the next cycle. And I also will talk about altcoins as well as I did in the video and how that works. But basically, if you just want to invest in Bitcoin, you basically are now exiting out of the consolidation period. And we're now coming up to basically confirm that we have exited out of that consolidation period where Bitcoin was down below 6,000 all the way down to 3,000. And once we possibly make support up here, again, there's a chance we could break through. I don't really think that's a probable case, but I think what you're going to get is a nice correction back down here to 6,000. And once you hold here for a while, you're confirming that, hey, newsflash bears, we're not going down to 3K, we're not going to 2K, we're setting up to really start moving higher. And that's basically going to give the possibility for price action to come and to start reclaiming some of this lost valuation that we still haven't reclaimed yet. That was in a very short period of time. And that's not even the bull run here, guys, to 20K. That's like the first marker. We basically are going to start this kind of zigzag pattern where we start setting higher lows, and sometime likely in 2020, we're going to be back at this range, breakthrough there, similar to what we did back in 2015 and 2016, going past the previous highs. And then that's going to give us the room for our multiple move. In previous run-ups, it's been 30, 40x, and the previous one, it was 20x from 1,000 to 20,000. And in this case, I think what's very likely, I'm much more conservative than others, is I think that you've got anywhere from a 3 to 5x. You're going to be going to 60K to 100K. Could go higher than that. I'm just keeping it conservative at the moment. We'll see how the market goes at that time. But basically, every retracement you get on this way up, that's around 30% or more, that's when I'm averaging in, right? That's when I'm taking the cash that I have on the side, I'm building up my position. And when we get into above there as well, once we get breaking above here, expect the corrections to be still around 30%, but get shorter. And we saw that in a lot of these corrections. They're very short term, and they happen very quick. And you don't want to miss out on those opportunities if you do have cash on the side. That is, if you want to go long Bitcoin, you believe in it, and you think it's going to go to those exponential ranges that we've been discussing. Again, you got to decide that for yourself. So, again, not doing any crazy charting or anything, just want to let you all know that's the major rationale. You don't need to overcomplicate it. We are obviously entering into a much more bullish phase for cryptocurrencies, but we need to solidify that support and show to the market, hey, we're not going down to those negative ranges again. We're ready to start moving higher, and we can start testing up towards 10,000 and 15,000 and 20,000, and then beyond that to new levels. I do believe we're going to see that as a continuation in 2019 into 2020, and then I think this rally will go all the way through to 2021. As we'll see, and that'll be the year that we actually peak out in this market. These market cycles are going to get much, much bigger, guys. In the sense of their returns, probably not as much. Again, as the multiples will slowly drop, as the markets get bigger, it's much more difficult for the market to double or triple or quadruple. But I think we've got so much room here, guys. Bitcoin's sitting at, I think, $160 billion valuation. Just want to make sure about that. I'm going to go ahead and take a look here. The cryptocurrency thing, it's 140 billion, because we've had a little bit of correction. I apologize. So again, guys, if just tackles a fraction of the gold market and currency markets in general, for a variety of fiat currencies, you've got so much room for Bitcoin to grow. So all right, I've rambled on enough. Let's go ahead and take a look at the crypto news here. Bitcoin bull John McAfee warns the U.S. government, "I will bury you." Oof. Man, you could make I think they had I know the documentary on John McAfee. They could totally make like a Netflix series off this guy. Oh my god. Well, anyways, McAfee, who is not only one of the most controversial figures in the crypto space, but also is one of the most well-known names and faces of crypto, has recently threatened the U.S. government due to the fact that there's been a variety of federal organizations that have claimed he's liable for tax evasion, money laundering, all kinds of criminal activity. And as you all know, likely, he's been on the run, and he's been tweeting as he's been going. He's actually been on a boat for some time. If you follow him on Twitter, you see some videos of it. He's having a nice few drinks every day, enjoying the weather with his wife, and I think the few people he's with. But he left out a set of tweets to the Department of Justice, who's been making these claims that from his friends in the State Department, the DOJ trumped up charges against me for murder, money laundering, and racketeering. They're working with Telis Bethel, military head in the Bahamas. Facilitator is Florida CIA agent J. Ken Costello. A conspiracy is unfolding, proof coming. And he's also claimed that he's going to leak out 31 plus terabytes of information on people who work at these organizations, on cover-ups of things of that sort, that obviously the DOJ and other federal organizations probably wouldn't want getting out. Now, is this true or not? We don't know. I have no doubt that if there was a quote-unquote celebrity that would be able to do something like this to gain access to information he probably wasn't supposed to gain access to, yeah, I'd say it's John McAfee. I will not doubt, John does have some knowledge in cybersecurity, and I guess on the other end as well of breaching cybersecurity. So it would be interesting to see what comes of this. And I always love, for example, when corruption gets exposed. I was one of the first people to jump the gun and excitement in regards to the Panama Papers. I always forget the names and stuff. All these different huge leaks that come out, they're always interesting to read into. But we'll have to see. Again, drama in the cryptocurrency space never gets old. John keeps the headlines rolling. Alrighty, so taking a look at the time now, guys, markets have opened up. We're up about 1% here on the NASDAQ. We can see we've continued the rally here. And what I'll be honest is I think happening, guys, is we're going to get exactly what we got over here in February of 2018 to the rally here in March. We're going to probably come right back up to the highs here on the NASDAQ, and this is due to the fact that we've had a reversal on many things. We've had a reversal on monetary policy. The Fed, by that time, when we get up here, we're just a few days away from it. I think the Fed announcement is going to lead markets all the way up to here the next few days to the 15th, and in this case, basically wherever, as far as we can climb up here. And on the 16th to the 17th, when we're having the FOMC meeting, this is going to be the breakthrough. If the Fed actually not only cuts rates, I think markets have priced that in, but if they say that they're going to cut 2 or 3 times this year, more than, a total of 0.75% or 75 basis points, that's going to lead markets to pop through, and we're going to have NASDAQ 10,000. As crazy as it is, guys, you don't fight the Fed. Do not fight the trend. They've been, over the last few years, notice how markets have been shaky and wonky and been setting new lows since 2018. That was because the Fed was cutting monetary policy. This is just a week of the Fed saying, hey, we're going to cut rates. And they haven't even done it yet. It's just hints, right? What happens when they cut interest rates back down to 1% or 1.5%? Markets are going to pop up. Cheap liquidity enters the system. And I have no doubt that they're going to head towards rolling back, or stopping the rollback on the balance sheet. They're going to freeze the sell-off of assets, provide even more, capital up for equity markets because those treasuries won't be available. Those bonds won't be available. So capital's got to flow somewhere. And if it's not flowing there, that's more money for equities. We've already seen, for example, I'll go ahead, that in May, well, lo and behold, first time since back in early 2018, the major 3 central banks didn't actually drop assets at a faster rate, right? So what happened here? Well, the Fed was still rolling off as usual. It's still on autopilot. The ECB still starting to exit out of its QE. Wow, we've got one other candidate here, the Bank of Japan. And if we take a look at it right here, bam, Bank of Japan, all-time high on its central bank balance sheet. And so long as there's a few players across the board, guys, who are doing this, so long as there's a net entry of liquidity, this is good in the short term for global markets. It's good for equities and assets and speculation. So, man, Bank of Japan is probably like I love so much about Japan. I hate to talk crap about Japan because it's a cool country, and I've been meaning to visit Japan for quite some time. But the fact of the matter is that the Bank of Japan is known for building up bubbles. Again, I've emphasized it before. Go watch The Princes of the Yen, one of the best underestimated documentaries of all time. But yeah, just take a look at it, guys. Take a look at it. Right when that roll-off starts to come through, look how much this just matches with equities. You see a stagnation in the quantitative easing in markets. Stuck, I don't know, this is the time we get out. Oh, no, it keeps on rising. Okay, break to all-time highs, right? And now we're getting shaky yet again. But I think you're going to start to see this curve back up. We're not done yet because the U.S. hasn't done exactly. The U.S., ECB, and most of the major central banks haven't done what Japan's done. That's the final final nail in the coffin. Yeah, there I go. There I go again with analogies. Final nail in the coffin. Buying up equities of your own stock. Who would bet against the government spending its own money on stocks? Like, you literally have a guaranteed inflow. Well, I guess not government, sorry, the central bank buying up its own country's stocks. So let's pour more alcohol in the punch bowl. Let's have a fun party, guys. Probably another 25% to go all the way up to 10K. Yeah. It's a crazy world, guys. It is a crazy world. But anyways, I want to know what you all think about this. What do you all think about this whole potential rally? Do you think we are going to see this break to 10K and then have a impending recession? Do you think the Fed will be able to keep this up for some time? Or do you think that this is all going to be short-lived? The Fed isn't going to raise rates, or even if they do, if are they going to cut rates? And even if they do cut rates, is it going to have much of an effect? Or market's still going to sell off? Let me know what you all think down below in the comments. But I think this is going to be the storm right here, guys. It's going to take another few months to a year if they keep this up, but it will eventually be the catalyst that leads to the money flow of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin going to those crazy sounding levels of 60K to 100K. I think most people would laugh at us if we were saying that, but if you knew how much capital really led to the rally last time to lead Bitcoin at 20,000, you'd realize just how little liquidity it's going to need to get back up to 60 to 100K. Not to mention, much more people are hodling their Bitcoin now. It's spread out amongst a lot of people who aren't looking to sell. So, interesting case. I don't know. I know I've rambled on today, guys, but I appreciate it. And as always, again, guys, if you can, check out those links in the description in regards to my other channels and places that I'm going to be uploading. I would just hate to one day not be able to speak to you guys and just like that, lose touch with all of you. So again, please keep an eye out on those other channels. There's a big issue with censorship going on right now. So and that being said, guys, thank you all so much. I hope you're all having a wonderful day wherever you are. And until the next video, I'll see you all in the next one. Stay tuned.